So I'm going to give two explanations as to why this actually happens, why there seems to be a blending and a confusion about the two. One of the reasons, and this is the major component to this, is that we have taken what is an Eastern philosophy, Sikhism, as an Eastern philosophy and tried to force it into the classification of religion. And religion is a word that is mostly interpreted through the Western perspective. Those from the, let's say, Christian or Jewish or Islamic perspective, the Abrahamic religions is the best source for understanding religion in the Western world. So when they use the word religion, this is their conception and understanding of it. And part of this confusion of confusing Khalsa with Sikh philosophy happens because we've tried to force Sikhism into the Western perspective of religion. So that happens by picking out those things that fit the best. Those things that fit within that lens the best. And that happens to be the rules and laws. It happens to be something closer to what we modernly conceive of as Khalsa. About, oh, you cannot cut your hair, you cannot get tattoos, you cannot do this. It begins to sound like thou shalt not do this, that shall do that, right? The kind of systematized rules and regulations for a specific way of being. But again, those specifics is intimately tied into the paradigm, and Sikhism as a philosophy was never really limited to a specific paradigm. As a philosophy, as a virtuous philosophy, it is available to anybody in any paradigm, or it ought to be thought of that way. But we kind of lose that when we do force fit it into being thought of as a religion. And indeed, nowadays we are seem to be confused. We know this idea that Sikhism is a way of life, not really a religion, and yet, yes, indeed, when somebody asks us, what is your religion, and you belong to the Sikh community, you say, my religion is Sikh. I'm part of the Sikh religion. But this is just a confusion. And part of the confusion for those members of the Sikh community now is that now we represent even to ourselves the modern conception of Khalsa and say that that is Sikhism. Even to ourselves do we show the symbol of the khanda that I demonstrated is intimately tied into the paradigm, a paradigm in which we value warriorhood, or wearing a kirpan, or wearing a dastar, having a long beard perhaps. Many of the things that we typically think of when we think of the Khalsa do certainly fit more into the perspective of what is the religion. So indeed, if we really do have to accept the word religion from the Westerners for them to understand, we should understand that it is more closely connected to Khalsa and not really Sikh and Sikhism. That you could be completely Sikh and not necessarily be the modern conception of what Khalsa is. You don't have to be necessarily intertwined into the paradigm of Punjab in order to be fully Sikh. As I described the relationship earlier, it may be sufficient, but not necessary. It may be sufficient to know you are Sikh by seeing you demonstrate how you practice your life, wearing a dastar or having dari or something, but it is not necessary. There's an important key difference in that. But due to the confusion, again, we continually showing the khanda and saying this khanda represents Sikhs, and when we go to our place of worship, the place we should be meditating on Sikhism and Sikh principles and Sikh philosophy, we are constantly barraged by the symbol of the khanda, which is not even a symbol created by the Guru. And if any symbol, if any phrase were supposed to be most important for Sikhs, it would be Ik Onkar. In Ik Onkar we have a closer translation to what is Sikh philosophy. Again, the khanda has to be interpreted through a specific paradigm. It represents swords to people who are not familiar with that paradigm. You see swords is closely connected to war, as I said, and that did happen in the paradigm. So we have our young youth, or not just people within our community, obviously people with, that are new to the community, new to exposing themselves to our culture and history, see swords in our religious symbol when we want to say we're people of peace. We show swords when we want to say we're people of peace. We have to explain to them something. Yeah, it was swords in our symbol, but it represents other stuff. Imagine if our symbol had machine guns and grenades, and we went around saying to everyone, yes, we're a peaceful people. They might be suspicious of us. Well, why do you have grenades and machine guns in your symbol? Well, we'd have to explain, a machine gun represents ability to conjure up great strength at a rapid pace and explosive willingness from the grenade to fight against tyranny or something. Again, I've described how we can say these things represent other things. But we certainly do tie in the paradigm of Punjab to what it means to be Sikh. Each time we show the Khanda as the symbol of the Sikh and Sikh philosophy. When we put it on our flag, we say, we're the Sikh people, we belong to Sikh philosophy. We put the Khanda on our flag, we will confuse our own people. We will tie in the paradigm of Punjab with the philosophy to our own people. So not only do we accept the Westerners' perspective on religion and try to force fit a philosophy into a perspective of Western religion, we also confuse ourselves if we kind of give that validation to that understanding by saying our symbol, the symbol for us, is the Khanda. The Khanda can be the symbol for Khalsa, as I've explained. And the Khalsa may indeed be a religion, if you want to call anything a religion. But then not for Sikhs. So what symbol is for Sikhs then? What symbol do we use to describe Sikhs? As I keep trying to say, and through earlier in my video, I represent Sikhism with Ik Onkar.